So today we're going to be ranking every single mythic in Fortnite from best to worst in a tier list, and this includes pretty much all of the mythics, including mythic weapons from the bosses. We've got the Marvel mythics, which were pretty OP, they were insane. We've got the Star Wars ones and all the different collabs. There's so many ones to get through, so we're just going to get straight into it. As you can see on screen, here's the tier list, S tier being the best, D tier being the worst. But I don't think there's going to be many in D tier because pretty much all the mythics are insane. There's so many good ones. And first up, we are going to be starting it off with the Thanos. Obviously, this was from the Thanos LTM back in Chapter 1, where you could grab the Infinity Gauntlet and literally become Thanos. This was probably one of the best LTMs we've ever had. The Thanos Infinity Gauntlet, such a popular one as well. And yeah, just becoming Thanos was insane. Obviously, all the powers you had, easily going into S tier there. Definitely one of my favorites for sure. Next up, we have got the Spider-Man gauntlets. Now again, these were obviously used to pretty much just get around the map quicker. They were very good for rotation, could use them, grab onto objects, and yeah, you could get around the map very quickly with these. So in terms of mobility items, this one would be on the top of the tier, but in terms of everything else, obviously it doesn't really do anything else in terms of dealing damage and all that type of stuff. It's just for getting around quick, but I'm still going to put it into A tier there. Still a very good mythic for sure. Now here we have got the mythic Scar, obviously from Chapter 2 Season 2, where you could kill the bosses, and obviously they dropped the mythics, and this one was the mythic Scar, and this one was probably one of the best weapons in the game. Obviously the Scar itself is a great weapon, obviously the legendary rarity is good, but this one, the mythic, was just insane. Obviously better fire rate, damage, accuracy, all that type of stuff. Such a good weapon, and yeah, definitely going in S tier for me. Definitely one of the best weapons. Just the Scar, it's just a great weapon really. Now the Deadpool dual pistols, these were decent weapons. Obviously you had like the gravity effect when you shot them, and this was again in Chapter 2 Season 2 with the Deadpool collab. And they were decent. I think a lot of people didn't really like them as much compared to some of the other mythics we had, like the Scar for example, but still a very good weapon overall. It was great to see this with the collab in that season. But in terms of where I'm going to rank it, comparing to some of the others, I'll probably put it in B tier. It's not a bad one, but not my favourite. Now here we have got the mythic drum gun again. From killing one of the bosses, and you would receive this drum gun, which would just shred through builds, deal a load of damage. Obviously the drum gun is a great weapon for close to medium range, and this one again, the mythic rarity, was just insane. I'm going to chuck that one straight to A tier there. And again, another mythic here from Chapter 2 Season 2, which I believe was from the boss Sky in the shark location, and they did drop the grappler. Now this one again, in terms of getting around the map, this was amazing. It did obviously have infinite uses, so the grapplers in general are good, but this one, you could literally use it infinite amount of times, and just to get around the map quicker, it was such a good one. So I'm going to chuck it straight into A tier there. And now we have got the shockwave launcher. Again, it was a good weapon, it's good for mobility, it was just a good way to get around the map again. In terms of where I'd rank it, I'll probably put it in B tier. I think it's good, but I'd definitely rather use something like the Spider-Man gauntlets for example, but still a very good mythic there. Now here we have got the mythic burst. Now again, just like the Scar, this one was such a good weapon, so much damage. And in terms of assault rifles, this was easily one of the best ones. I'd still just about prefer the Scar though, so I'm going to put this one into A tier, but still such a good weapon and such a good mythic in general. Now here we have got the mythic minigun, obviously from Brutus in the grotto. The minigun was very good. It definitely wasn't my favourite mythic, I definitely prefer some of the other ones over it, but I'll still put it into B tier there. It does a lot of damage, shreds through builds, and it's overall a very good one. Now here we have got the Chug Jug, again from Chapter 2 Season 2. This mythic was very good. Obviously it's a mythic healable, one of the only mythic healables we've had in the game, but it's definitely worthy of that mythic status just because obviously the Chug Jug, it fully heals your health and shield to 100, and the thing about this that made it so good was the fact that it had infinite uses. Obviously a regular Chug Jug, you just use it once, but this, infinite uses, you can pass it to your teammates, heal your entire team up. Such a good healable, and this definitely has to go in A tier for me. Now here we have got the mythic goldfish. Now this was easily the rarest item in the game. So rare, it was literally 1 in a million chance of finding it. I don't really think anyone really found it, but there were some videos of it on YouTube of people finding it. And obviously if you did get it, you could throw it at people and it dealt 200 damage to people and structures. So if you saw somebody in the distance, literally throw this fish at them and 200 damage to get eliminated. It was insane. So very overpowered, but obviously it kind of makes sense because it was so rare. But yeah, it definitely has to go in S tier for me, just because of how rare it was. Now here we've got the Captain America shield. This is obviously one of the Marvel ones, and this one, pretty cool mythic here. In terms of where I'll rank it, I think I'll go A tier. I think it was good, and yeah, you can't really say anything bad about this. It was just a good mythic in general. Now here we've got the Batman grappler. And this one was obviously added in late chapter 1 with Gotham City, that location. And this one, if you did use it, you would grapple onto an item, and obviously you would deploy the Batman glider, and it was a really cool item, obviously with the Batman collab. Pretty much similar to the grappler, just you could use your glider as well. So I will put this in B tier. The only reason I'll put the mythic grappler ahead of it is because the Batman one doesn't have infinite uses. So if it did have infinite uses, I'd definitely put it above it, because obviously this one you could use your glider with it, but still a great mythic there. Now speaking of great ways to get around the map, the Silver Surfer. Now this one, obviously another great way to get around the map. You found this in chapter 2 season 4 with all the different Marvel mythic weapons. These were just insane. This one, you use this, obviously you would deploy the Silver Surfer glider, so just a very good way to get around the map. So I'll probably just put it in B tier. It's a good mobility item. Now here we've got another Marvel one, obviously Thor's hammer. This one kind of OP, and with these Marvel ones, they were all very good, but when somebody used them against me, it wasn't very fun. But I'll still put it in A tier there actually. Very good one for sure. Speaking of the other ones, we have got the Iron Man one here. Again, I'm going to chuck this one straight into A tier. A very good mythic, and yeah, I don't think there's anything bad you can say about this. If you saw somebody using it against you, you were probably going to get eliminated. Simple as that. Now here we've got the Star Wars one. This was the lightsaber. And obviously we had a lot of the different lightsabers. We had the red one, the blue, the purple. Obviously we just got the green one on this list, but they're all pretty similar. And the lightsabers, I think they were cool to have in Fortnite. I think this was a great collab. And it would have been cool to have these as pickaxes though. But in terms of them as weapons, I think they were good. I'll put them in B tier there. Not too bad at all. Now here we've got another Batman item. And this one, I don't think it was as good compared to some of the other mythics on the list. Obviously you could throw this at enemies, deal damage. It wasn't too bad, but I'll probably just put it into C tier there. Now here we have got the Infinity Sword. Now this one was so overpowered when it got added to the game. I think everyone just hated coming against this because it was just so OP. But if you had it yourself, obviously you could get a lot of eliminations. And it was just a very good mythic, so I'm going to put it in A tier. Now next up here we have got another one which was just a very good mythic, and there's nothing really bad about this. Not my favourite, but I'll still put it in A tier. I think this was very good overall. Now next up we have got another one which, this one is not my favourite, as you can see on screen. And this was a part of the Avengers collab in chapter 1. And you had these in game, and they were kind of like lasers obviously to enemies. Didn't do the most amount of damage. And compared to the other mythics on the list, I'm probably just going to put it in the bottom tier, just because I prefer the other ones a lot more to this one. But next up we have got the mythic assault rifle. Now this one, not as good as the Scar or the Burst in my opinion, but still a good assault rifle. In terms of where it compares to some of the other stuff though, it wasn't my favourite. Obviously got this from Kit, and it's a good mythic, but I just like a lot of the other ones a lot more, and I wouldn't really use this one compared to a lot of the other ones. So I'll put it in C tier there, even though it's definitely not a bad one. And now here we have got the Star Wars one. And this one, again, not my favourite, part of the Star Wars collab. It's a cool collab, but this weapon definitely wasn't my favourite, so I'm going to put it into C tier there. And that's pretty much the tier list. Now obviously recently we did have some of the new anime mythics which aren't on the list, but in terms of where I'd rank those, I think they'd all have to go in S tier pretty much. Deku Smash, Kamiyamama, all those ones are very good mythics. So if those were on the list, I'd probably just put them all into S tier, and the Nimbus Cloud as well, maybe I'd put that in A tier. But that's pretty much all of the mythics we've had in the game. There's been so many good ones over the years, from the Marvel to the Star Wars to the anime ones we've had recently. Make sure to comment down below which mythic is your favourite. And if you did enjoy the video, then don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for more. And there's a lot more videos on screen here. Make sure to click another one to keep on watching, and I'll see you over there.